Hello, Chef Marcus Guiliano here, and I'm your chef on a mission. Today's mission is running, which I really haven't spent too much time on my channel. I haven't focused too much time on running videos. A couple years ago I did, 2015, 2016. 2015, I believe, was the year I ran 8 marathons, 1 month after another. I was always trained for a marathon. Most of those marathons were actually ultra marathons, so 26.2 or more miles, 27, 28, 30, 34, 52, 51 in one case. And most people, know that I am into nutrition. I do own a restaurant, so I am tempted a lot of times by having an alcoholic beverage, which is not good for recovery. It's a very inflammatory food, beverage, substance. But I want to talk about one instance that I really resonated with me lately on recovering aches and pains, and how food can make a drastic difference in what you're doing. So for the last time I ran 20 miles, last time I ran anything over a half marathon's been a year. It's been a full year. I haven't ran over 6.5 miles, 7 miles in 8, 9 months. It's been a long time since I've ran that many miles. I've been doing 3 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles, 6 miles here and there. I've been logging 12 miles a week, if that. This last week, I went out and did a 15.5 miler. And I went out and met with 2 friends really early in the morning, 7 o'clock. We ran our 6 miles at a 52-minute pace. Then we met up with a group of 15 other people, some of them very good runners in the group. And we ran 6 more miles. Then I added 2.5 miles onto that. My second 6 miles was a negative split, which means I ran quicker than my first 6. The last 2.5 I was dead. But the last 6.5, I was really pushing. The last 4, I actually caught up with the lead group. We were pushing 8-minute miles. I was hanging in with them. I felt fantastic. I felt wonderful. I felt amazing. Now keep in mind, 15.5 miles, I haven't ran that in a solid year. I haven't ran that distance. I haven't run over 7 miles in probably, actually the last time I ran 10 miles was last April like 1st or 2nd, and now we're going into February. So it's been 10 months since I've done a double-digit run. So let's talk about my recovery, because most people would be aches and pains, and normally I would be aches and pains in certain cases. So what I've been eating in my diet attributes to what I'm going to share with you right now. I will, a lot of runners will, when they push themselves, they'll wake up the next day, especially if they're not in shape like I am. I'm not a 15-mile runner right now. I'm a 4 or 5 miler runner, good 3-mile runner. I'm not a 15.5er. So I woke up the next day, got out of bed, and normally I would experience like, you get up and you're stiff, and you're like, I got to stretch, and it hurts to get out of bed. Almost no pain, almost zero pain. What I've been doing every day for the last 2 months, since January 1st, I've been juicing 2 pineapples a day. 2 pineapples. Pineapples are loaded with bromelain. It's a very anti-inflammatory, great recovery food. And what I do, especially with the pineapple, is I juice the flesh first. And I have an auger press, which is a very slow mechanism. It's not a high-speed centrifuge. It takes time and just like crushes, as opposed to just spinning the blaze out of it. It crushes in a very slow mechanism and forces the pineapple or whatever you're juicing through this conical sieve and forces everything out of it. It's like pressing it. It's not like a Norwalk. It's similar to, I shouldn't say it's not like a Norwalk. It's a concept of like a Norwalk, but a little $2,000 cheaper and not nearly as good as a Norwalk. But it's the same concept. You're pressing the juice as opposed to putting it to something and macerating it or just spinning the blaze out of it. So the heart of the pineapple has the most bromelain concentrate. Bromelain being this wonder, I don't know if it's considered an antioxidant or not, mineral. I'm not sure what exactly it's considered, but it's this outstanding powerhouse that's found in pineapple. But the majority of the bromelain is found in the core. And not many people know that. People don't eat the core, so they eat the outside. But when you juice that core, and I juice the core at the end because it is a much more thicker fibrous substance and it will clog the juicer up. So I juice my regular flesh of the pineapple first, and I juice that second, and I mix it into my batch. And in fact, I'm headed off right now to see my son play some baseball. And what do I got here? Oh, this is my green juice. Sorry, I thought I had my pineapple juice with me. So I've been doing 2 pineapples a day. Now, last week, when I did that 15.5-mile run, I ran 6 miles 8 days before that, 7 days before that. I hadn't run all week. So it wasn't like I was loose and limber all week running miles and my body was used to it. And again, I've only been running right now 15 miles a week, if that's it. So I did 15 miles in one run as opposed to doing 15 miles for the week. That's a massive, massive improvement. And to be up with the lead group, doing about 8-minute miles, 7:56, 8:08, to be at that 8-minute mile mark, the last 3 miles of the 12, and then I added 2.5 on. For me, I was feeling like this is awesome. People were like, "Wow, Marcus, you're doing really good for not running that much." I'm like, "Man, I feel awesome. I feel awesome right now." And I kind of felt my legs a little bit like tightening up my muscles, and I'm like, "Man, I'm probably gonna have muscle pain." So I know this feeling, and to my amazement, virtually nothing. So, is it the bromelain? Is it the pineapples? I sure think it is because I'm living it and experiencing it. Is it a combination of the other things I'm doing, the green juices? It could be a whole synergy thing of everything I'm doing. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel great. I just thought I want to share that tip with you. I love sharing tips and tricks and anti-inflammatory foods. There's a lot of foods you can eat for good recoveries. Maca being a really good powerhouse. MACA, a Peruvian, South American horseradish root that grows at like 10,000 feet in elevation. It's a very, very energizing food. A lot of athletes do use maca. So there's a lot of things you can do. There's a lot of things you can avoid, like dairy. My son was told, if you play Division I baseball in college, most of these coaches are going to get you off of dairy, even though my son's not. My son was raised a vegetarian and doesn't do much dairy at all. But they're like, yeah, these kids are in a shock because they're not going to be able to have their milk, their ice cream, their dairy, dairy's not a good thing for recovery. And a lot of these Division I coaches in baseball and college are onto this, and nutritionists are onto it, and they're going to make you eat optimal foods for maximum performance. And my son has been doing this his whole life, which is probably why he's up there in the top, couple percent of athletes out there in his age group, and he's 6'4", 6'3.5" or something. So can throw down an awesome mean dunk. 10th grade and 9th grade he could throw down a dunk, but he's getting those two-handed dunks down now, and he can actually jump up and without even running in place, just stand there and just jump and grab onto the rim. It's pretty amazing to see him do all that kind of stuff. But he's been on optimal nutrition his whole life. I mean, that green juice I just showed you is what I make him every morning as well for himself. So he drinks a whole pint of green juice every morning. So yeah, just thought I want to share some tips and tricks. I know I've been neglecting running on this channel because I've neglected running. And hey, if this helps anybody, that's awesome. Leave your comments for your best recovery foods or best tips and techniques. I'd love to hear that. Thanks for watching.